Hey everyone, and welcome to Television for the Multiverse, the DC Comics TV podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we're gonna do this. We actually got a big week this week. We have the Flashes back, so that's added onto the roster, along with Legends of Tomorrow, which is the finale of the season. We also have Black Lightning, we have Krypton, and we have Arrow. So we have 5 full shows this week. So a lot of big things to talk about, and that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to get to.
Yeah, no Young Justice because there was 5 full shows.
Yeah, we said last week we're going to take Young Justice off for a couple of weeks. Obviously, that's not a new show. We've been working through that in the backlog, one per week, so that we're ready for season 3 when it hits. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And in terms of news, there actually was one bit of news this week. Not a big thing, but there was a little thing. Roy's going to be a regular cast member on Arrow next season, if you recall.
Yeah. For some reason.
For some reason. I've got a joke to make. I can't really make it though until we talk about this week's episode.
I think I can see where this is going.
So just in case you just in case you've not watched all the shows and you're going to skip that episode, I won't spoil it here. So because I'm considerate like that.
I will mention as well. I think it was this week or during the last. Maybe the week before, Stephen Amell was, hinting that Tommy, that actor, is going to be back in next season for some reason.
Oh yeah.
So it's a full reunion.
That's even more weird, given his character's demise back in season 1. But
he's been dead a long time.
Yeah, at least Roy we've seen has been kicking around. He's running around doing things. He's right now he's helping with Lazarus Pits.
Yeah, he's alive at least.
Yeah, that's usually a good sign that they can come back.
It helps,
that show's brought several people back from the dead, though, so I can't really make much of a comment on it at this point, I suppose.
It's true. I mean, it's just another one at this point, isn't it?
But hey, let's talk about the shows. We got 5 of them to talk about. So we'll start off in order that they aired during the week, and that kicks us off with Legends of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 18. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Cuddly. So here's the thing.
Where do you want to start with this one?
Here's the thing. This starts with the big moments at the start. Malice has been released. Effects look quite good. As you pointed out last week, they had some budget left over, so they had a lot of money for the effects for Malice, and for the big thing that happens at the end of this episode. And it does show. It looks pretty good for what it is on TV. And there's a big thing. Rip has his big sacrificial moment, and we'll talk about that a bit more in detail. But in it, he mentions that he's going to see his wife and son again. I'm like, man, that's a season 1 reference, but it makes sense in context. Of course, he should be mentioning that if he's going out the hero and he's dying.
You'd kind of hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But also in the first half of the episode, we go back to Salvation, which was the town that was kind of it was almost cloaked from the time.
Yeah, it's a blind spot.
Blind spot. That was the phrase they used. So they go back there to hide with all the stones, and there was a reference to the Hawks at one point. Like Mick says, "Oh, those flying chickens," or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there's a lot of season 1 references, and as much as that doesn't necessarily deteriorate the quality, it's like it was bringing me down. I'm like, stop reminding me of season 1. Season 1 was garbage. Stop it. And it was a lot of setup in the first half. However, once it got to the point where they were getting ready to fight, and Sarah was giving her speech, which, by the way, was fantastic. As
quality speech.
We're going to, prove that Rip's death was not for nothing. We're going to prove that we're not losers. Today's the day that we earn the name Legends. Takes a drink. Now, how do we sneak out the back? Glorious. Love it.
Yep.
And then everything that happens from that on. The second half of the episode was fantastic. I loved every second of the last half. So,
even the first half, which is set up, it's the setup of a joke. It's literally a pirate, a Roman, and a Viking walk into a bar.
They never quite go into the bar.
Not quite, but they're right outside, so it counts.
And it's the ones who say it's the Viking women who worshipped little Beebo.
Yep.
I'm saying little because
more on that
for later. And Blackbeard and Caesar. They've all 3 of them have got some armies of their own, and they're all there to represent Malice, who's sort of brought them all back, and they're all under his control.
I did like them arguing whether it's Malice or Mollus.
Yeah, even Malice kind of said when he first gets there, he's like, "It's Malice, you fools." Or did he
Yeah.
say Malice? Whatever one he said.
I don't know. I don't know anymore. But they did. They went back and forth so many times.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm just hearing the same thing every time, regardless of what they're saying. But
The only time I could really tell the difference was when I think it was Mick and was it Wally arguing whether it was Malice or Mollus.
yeah,
That was the only time I could really tell which one was which.
yeah. So a bunch of things happen. Amaya goes on a vision quest again with Nate. So
Nate's back on the drugs.
yeah, Nate was high again. So that was a fun little. I mean, it wasn't much with it, but it was almost just a fun callback.
It was, yeah. It was as soon as he got into the room, he's like, "Oh, you're on this again. Oh, this sounds like fun."
Honestly, my biggest laugh of the episode, though, right? Not my favorite moment, but my biggest laugh of the episode might be so Ray, like Sarah can tell he's got a stupid plan. She's like, "Hey, Nate, or not Nate, sorry, Ray, nothing stupid." And he's like, "Yeah, nothing stupid, Captain." And he's like, right? But you know he's going to do something stupid. And he breaks out dark, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to do something to try and save your daughter," because he wants to save his real-life wife. And he's taking him on the dropship. And Nate sort of sees him leave. He's like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing there, Ray?" And he's sort of stalling. And then just from behind, Dark just pops and says, "Hi, Nate!" and walks past.
And Ray's like, "Don't wave, damn it."
That made me laugh so much. That was good.
That was great. But the follow-up in the same scene where Nate goes, "Oh, what's going on? What's your plan?" And Dark pops in behind him and goes, "Yeah, I want to hear this. What are you going to tell him?"
Oh, so good. So they actually go back to when they were fighting Dark just before Malice got released, right? That's in the last episode. They did a bit of the Back to the Future 2 stuff. Not that you'd get that reference because you've not seen Back to the Future Part 2.
I get the reference. I don't need to have seen it.
But they go back to that time, and there's a little joke where Dark's like, "Oh, it sounds like I've done a number on you in there," and Ray's like, "Yeah, it still hurts." So, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's grown, he's apologising. But, so that's the whole thing. So Ray explains the plan to him, he's like, "Oh, we're going to have to knock her out." And Dark's like, "What?" It's like, "Gently," right? And he goes, right? But I actually laughed really hard, almost as much as the High Nate line, because his plan to knock her out was literally Ray runs up behind her while she's on her knees and just punches on the back of the head. I don't know why a punch in the back of the head is much funnier than a punch to the front of the face, but it is.
Again, and then it follows up by nothing happens, and then Dark punches her, and Ray's like, "Hey, don't punch your daughter."
I wasn't expecting him to just run up and punch her on the back of the head. It caught me off guard. And then Dark has this whole thing. So Dark actually, like, he takes the Malice away from her. Basically, he does the whole thing. It's like, "Oh, he's going to take you instead." He's like, "I was counting on that." So we still have the big dragon Malice, but now it came from Dark or Damien as opposed to Nora Dark.
Which is way more disappointing because it means that we won't have Damien again, unless time travel shenanigans, I guess.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like, I've enjoyed him this season, but it was time to let him go.
Maybe.
I think it was time to retire.
He's been at his very best these last few episodes.
But I think we've milked him for all he's worth. I don't think there was much more to do with him.
Maybe not.
And I feel that there's potential with Nora because I feel like we're setting up that she's going to end up, if not join the team, then be like
a bit of rivalry. Yeah,
be a casual sort of ally here or there. Kind of be Ray's Catwoman, if you will, if you want to compare it to something.
Kind of like Dark's been the last few episodes, where he's kind of been helping out, but he's still been a villain doing his own kind of thing.
Yeah, but more of an anti-hero, I guess. Because obviously, I mentioned how much chemistry they had in the episode where they were in Berlin together, and I think. Even here, at the end, he comes up and she's being arrested, and she helps fight because she's in the final battle. She's using her powers. She's still got them, and he gives her the time stone that they've been using to jump around. It's like, "Hey, escape! He died to give you a second chance. Take the second chance." Yeah. So, so I'm expecting her to pop up next season. I'm expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
So they put out a distress call. They try and use the stones together, and they basically make like a big fetus thing that just kind of implodes.
Mick burns it.
Mick burns it. Of course, there is comedy to be had. This is after they've met Jonah Hex again, which also made me kind of groan because I really hated that episode in season 1. I thought that was one of the weaker episodes. Was the Western episode?
Yeah, it was a bad episode. I did like Jonah Hex, but it was a bad episode.
But there's a obviously by this point there's the scene where Jonah Hex comes in to see Zari at one point to ask if what's going on. And by the way, Zari's at the metal. That's cool. That's a new bit of new knowledge. And it's like, wait, are they getting some awkward chemistry here? Are we getting some hints that Zari's into Jonah Hex? And then, of course, we have the thing where they're all connecting with the stones, and they're all thinking different things. And Mick's like, Pretty's got girly hands, and, it's going around. And it gets to Zari, and she's like, is it just me, or is, Jonah Hex kind of hot? And then Sarah's like, you could do it worse than Jonah Hex. Like, you could hear that? It's like, and Mick's like, could hear my thing about his pretty hands.
And during this, obviously, Nate's still high on the drugs, so you've still got him going on about it all being like Voltron.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: you'd seen a screenshot spoiling what they actually make at the end. I did not. I didn't know that was coming. And I'll be honest, because when we get to the point later on where they actually get together again, all the beams of light come in, and I'm like, okay, they're building something. They'd referenced Voltron multiple times. I actually questioned, did they pay for the rights to actually use Voltron?
Yeah. Joe, I was watching this with a girlfriend, and she hadn't seen it either, and she's like, "Are they making Voltron?" And I was like, "Just wait."
I genuinely thought they might be. Now, I was happy with the result. Don't get me wrong, but especially since it was Nate who was responsible, because he's the one who says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking about it." Which, by the way, very Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, might I add. But I really thought they might have been making Voltron, which would have been cool as well. But
it would have. This is the thing. I wish I hadn't had that spoiled for me, but I couldn't help it. It wasn't like I went looking for it.
Yeah,
I had James Gunn on Twitter sharing it, going, "Hey, this is awesome."
But before we get to that, they put out a distress call for backup, and Ava shows up with Kawase, who is now Vixen, because they changed the past, because they changed the events in 1992. She never went down her dark path.
Yeah, she now shares the totem.
Therefore never died, and is now a hero Vixen. Helena Troy shows up, who has been training and even references Themyscira. Yep. So we got her, and then for some reason Jax, who, don't get me wrong, I'm nice to see that he's okay, he's got a family, he's got a kid. Martina.
Yeah, Jax from 5 years in the future.
I don't know why it's 5 years in the future, but whatever. I think it's just to show us that he's not coming back, he's going to have a happy life.
I think so.
This is a send-off. That said, I did question what was the point. Like, how good is he without Firestorm ability on his own?
To be fair, he was without the Firestorm ability for like 90% of the time anyway.
Yeah, and how useful was he? Outside of being a mechanic, of course.
Yeah, barely ever, but they still threw him out into the field anyway.
Well, because that was the thing. Once Stein had left and it was just him, I was like, well, how useful, outside of maintaining the ship, how useful is he in the actual combat? And you've brought him here to help fight an army. It felt weird to me. I'm like, what's the point?
No, I get it. But even before Stein died, he was always just in the field on his own anyway. So,
and to be fair, it always bothered me then too.
No, it bothered me too as well. It was very much okay. We're hiding the effects budget essentially.
But there we go. So they're all there. They help fight the armies, and they help fight the army whilst they're doing their magic trick with the gems. And sure enough, they're making the big thing. There's a build up. Malice is showing up, a big demon, and he's out there. And this is basically a Power Rangers episode, because he gets really big, and then he's out there in the field next to the little town. Although it does help that this is set in the past, and there would be like all this open land behind the town.
No, it's true. As much as they reference Voltron all the time, I didn't grow up with Voltron. It was Power Rangers and the Megazord for me.
Yeah, that's what I think of first. I never watched Voltron as a kid either. But so they make a giant Beebo, and
it's beautiful.
And obviously there's some build up. There's you told me to think of something good and pure, and that's all I can think of. And then Zari's like, yeah, no, I'm just thinking about him too. We have a giant Beebo who's Beebo hungry, and he runs in.
I want to say, looks shockingly good for what it is.
It does. We have him doing the little Matrix hand thing.
Yeah, you can tell like there are certain moves that it's doing. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's Sarah, because I've seen Sarah do those exact same moves.
The Matrix moment, Sarah, and even as he starts to move, he makes this little "Hiya" noise as he starts moving, which really cracked me up. Yeah. And he's like, Beebo wants a hug, and that's because it ends with, because there's a one point where he sort of like rolls backwards and kicks Malice up into the air. There's lots of little cool moves, but it ends with him jumping up into the air and then just sort of body slamming him like from really, really high. You see him like falling through the sky from quite a height, and when he lands, there's a heart-shaped cloud of blue.
Explodes out.
Yeah. We had a giant Beebo versus Malice fight in our finale.
As the Viking woman puts it, the one true god.
Oh dear.
I don't think Legends could have ended in a better way. Honestly. How else do you cap off a season like this except with a giant Bebo?
Yeah, this is the best season, and I think one of the reasons why it's the best season beyond anything else is that I feel like they've refined the cast, and they've taken, obviously season 1 they took away the Hawks who were not working at all. I think taking away Start was a good idea. I mean, I like Stein, and Jax is okay, but I do think compared to the rest, they didn't fit quite as well into the jovial spirit. So I think taking them away has also helped. I think adding Wally. Wally's better on this show than he ever was on his own.
And also, notably, his powers are just not nerfed at all.
Yeah, and even when they are, because I think last week when Dark nerfed him first, he even said, always neutralise your speedster first. And I'm like, no, as much as that's kind of what we were talking about, it makes sense. If he's being strategic, you take out the speedster first. Because that's the thing, at the start of this episode, when Malice is first big, Wally's like distracting him for a long time because he can. He's like, oh, you can speed around him.
Yeah, no, and then when the armies are going, he just like there's a point where it's like, okay, Wally's free now, and he just comes in and just takes out loads of them.
Yeah. So at least so far, so good. So I appreciate that. Obviously, there's various little moments I like. Obviously, Ava Sarah having a couple of moments where they seem to have patched things up, and they give a couple of glances. So that's clearly going to be a thing, especially since we know she's a regular next year. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of her, which is great. Also, a great addition to the cast. As is Gary. We'll get to his inclusion.
Oh
there.
yes, we will.
Great stuff. So I liked all that, and then again, just little bits. The Zari Jonah Hex thing was funny, especially at the end when like, hey, is that Jonah Hex's hat?
Yeah.
He's like, shut up. No, I can't. Seriously, guys, shut up. Good stuff. And the whole thing, of course, Amaya, it's building to her saying, look, I need to leave. Like, I've been with you guys for a couple of years, and I kind of need to go back. And it's this sweet moment where like they're saying, oh, you can't leave us, and Zari's found a home here, but then the camera goes to Nate, and it's like, and we have the whole goodbye thing. But she actually says, no, don't wipe my memory. I want to remember this. Like, this is a part of my life. I don't want to, and Nate saying, don't turn around, I thought was a nice little beat
Yeah,
for
just
him.
repeat. Do you think we get Kuasa on the ship next season as the new Vixen?
I don't.
No?
Part of this is outside knowledge, though, because obviously you're thinking, oh, so is she just gone? And by she, I mean Maisie Richardson Sellers, who plays Amaya.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that they're kind of hinting at that she'll still be around next season, but as a different character.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're going to have her play the good, like the other good granddaughter, but just have her be her now.
Oh, that's weird because we've already seen her.
We have
Like
seen her.
she had a part in Arrow.
She had a part in Arrow. We've seen her picture in Legends. I'd let them away with it though, because I'd much rather have her playing a granddaughter than have that actress back.
Oh, that's true.
And also, how funny would it be for Nate to try and be like, I can't be attracted to her, I can't be attracted to her. She's the granddaughter of my girlfriend.
This is the thing. I kind of let Legends slide with more things than I should because it addresses them and it makes them into jokes. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, be a cartoon. I don't care. It's like with this episode, I actually saw a lot of backlash to the giant Bebo, with people saying,
Fools.
No, this was people who said, the only people who like this are the people who like anime bullshit. And I'm like, okay, I know for a fact Peter hates anime, and I'm relatively certain he's going to love this.
It's not. No, this is not anime
This
bullshit.
isn't anime bullshit. This is just cartoon.
Yeah, this is a cartoon. This has been a cartoon for 2 years. It's at its best when it's been a cartoon. I am A-okay with all of this. A-okay with it completely. Yeah, so yeah, I don't get that complaint. So I'm just making that guess. If she's going to be around as a different character, that makes sense. I don't think it would be her direct daughter, because I feel like that would be kind of weird to then have another time displaced one who still have to go back eventually. I think either the granddaughter or maybe it's just her from another universe. Because we've had that before, different universe
I'd
versions.
be down for that.
Hell, maybe
I think I'd prefer that.
Maybe it'll be a great grand. Maybe it'll be like Kawasa's daughter from the future.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like, why does Kawasa look nothing like her, but her daughter does.
Don't question it. I'm sure
fine.
they'll ask the same question.
It's fine. Or I don't know. Or maybe like, well, Well, no, well, we can't because Supergirl. I was going to say, what if we get Miss Martian and she chooses like Amaya's, her looks because she sees a photo of her and she's like, oh, I like her. I'm going to be her most of
No,
the
no,
time.
I get you, but
We've had Miss Martian. I mean, she could look different, but whatever.
she could multiverse and all that.
Well,
And,
actually,
you know,
not to be fair. Actually, to be fair, yeah, it makes sense. Think about it. She's a shapeshifter in both Earths. Why would she look the same in both Earths anyway?
Not unless she's copied the same form for some reason.
Yeah, because if we had Jean in this Earth compared to like Supergirl's world, he wouldn't look like Hank Henshaw because he wouldn't have had that backstory, probably.
Right.
Oh yeah, actually it works. Yeah, we can have just this universe's Miss Martian. I don't think they're going to do that, but I'm just.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a possibility. A shapeshifter who picks her form for whatever reason. Which
and then
again,
it gets really awkward around it.
And Nate gets very awkward about it. Yeah, that could be a thing. I don't know. I'm sure there's other possibilities, but so that's the thing. I also saw hints that Rip might be back as well in some way. Although I've got theories of that based on the ending, which we're about to talk about. I will say I think that's a shame if he does come back to an extent, because I think, much like Dark, I feel like we've kind of exhausted him as a character.
I agree, and I think they knew that. That's why him going out was, okay, this is all his beats as a character.
Yeah, it's made a lot of sense.
It is, and it was like, you know what? He's at the end of his path. He's finally going out as a legend, as he says. It's like, no, I'm finally going to be one of them. And that works for me.
Yeah.
As much as I like Rip, this worked.
And honestly, yeah, Rip was way better later on when he was he was being made fun of by everyone else.
Once Sarah became captain instead.
Yeah, when he was all mopey in season 1 about his wife and son, it was like, that got old very fast. But
it did, and it made sense for them to remind us of that and have those beats play here at the end for him, because it would kind of feel weird if it didn't have that for his character.
Yeah. No, that definitely worked. But hey, so at the end, they go to Aruba, so it feels very bookmarked by the start of the season. Except this time, Nick's not alone; everyone's in Aruba, so they're all there in their beachwear. Yeah. Also, when did Wally's hair get long enough to have that fringe thing that he's got right now?
Time travel, bro.
Looking very stylish. In fact, he was very proud of his cowboy outfit. Even Zari, because they weren't here when this happened last time, so they were like, "Oh, cowboy outfits, yeah."
They were digging it, weren't they?
So good fun with that. But yeah, so you think Constantine showed up? We got the voice. Right, and he's like, legends, and I don't even know what he said. I can't remember what he says, but and then is that Constantine? And then you see,
just see him through the sunglasses at first.
Yeah, it's Gary in a wig with the coat on doing his Constantine impression, and they're all just kind of like,
"Oh, Gary, I love you."
Gary, take that wig off. I was like, what? Too much?
It was a bit too presidential.
Yeah. That was a Trump wig joke, yeah.
Yeah.
And then actual Constantine shows up and sets up what next season's going to be. Hey, by opening the door for Mollush, you opened a lot of doors, a lot of things came through. So it feels like, and this makes sense with Constantine being a regular next season, is that we're going to be dealing with a lot of demonic threats.
Yeah, he drops the dragon head at their feet.
So that should be fun. Which, if we're going to theorize how we see Rip again, did Rip go to hell? Are we going to see like hell, and that's how we meet Rip again?
Maybe.
That's an idea, but
honestly, I'm so sad that Legends is over already.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I've missed Supergirl, but Legends has been consistently the best for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think part of it is that it's got that shorter season. It gets to.
It might well be, but I'm like,
God
damn it! Now it's over, and I've got to wait till October to get more Legends in.
I genuinely wonder what the orders are for next season. They've all been renewed, but I'm genuinely curious if because they have 5 shows now, do they like even it out a little bit, like bump up?
Because Legends has been bumping up every season.
Like, does Black Lightning get bumped up maybe to 18 as well, but then maybe the other 3 22s all get bumped down a few each or something? I don't know. Like,
if the others. If only one of the others is going down, I think it'll be Supergirl. Not based on ratings or anything like that, but based purely on they were having some production issues anyway. You know, they had some delays. They were struggling to keep on schedule this season. So if they bump that down just to make it,
I don't know if that was. I don't think that was a general thing with the show, though. I think that was just like a specific problem this season in the writers' room or something like that. Like, because we'd heard various things. They did say it had nothing to do with the Kreisberg situation.
Yeah, it was before that. Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't imagine that helped.
It probably didn't because they had to get in a new showrunner.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause Berlanti took more of a hands-on approach with that in
Yeah,
Flash after the whole thing. So as much as they said it wasn't that, I have to imagine that kind of partly led to
that
that.
exacerbated the problem.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I don't know. It could just be the exact same. It could just be they'll do the same thing next year because I think they definitely want the four shows on for the crossover for the first
Yeah,
half of the
absolutely.
the season. And we'll see what they do after Christmas next year. If they hold Black Lightning for then, maybe that makes
Yeah,
more sense.
it'll be really interesting to see if they do the same with the Supergirl and Legends. I don't know how this has worked out for them yet. I think we need to wait and see how Supergirl performs in the back half of its season now.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I wonder to do this. I wonder if instead of these all like instead of two of these shows sharing a slot like Supergirl and Legends, I wonder if the other shows or a lot of the shows will share slots with something else that's shorter as well instead, and they'll just kind of schedule it so there's always 3 or 4 of them on at one time, and it'll vary depending on.
It's true. Alternatively, we could get one into one of the Sunday night slots.
Oh, we could. I'm pretty sure they've said in the past that they never want 5 on at the one time.
Oh no, you're right. They have said that.
So it's just a question of do they do some more like inventive scheduling so it's like there's like a sort of weird rotation where there's always 4 on, but a different one takes a week off every week or something funny like that.
Yeah, it could be. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how Supergirl performs here now. If the extended break has really hurt it, I don't see them doing it again, and they'll try something else next year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it depends how it does in June and July.
Yeah.
If well, not July. I think it'll
Well, I
still
mean,
be in June.
even when it comes back, next week or this week, basically, if it does really badly coming back, then they're going to look at this and go, okay, no, this extended break of 2 months after it's been back, it was back for 4 episodes and then took 2 months off. If this really hurts it, I think they'll reconsider.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do the same next year anyway.
No?
I mean, unless it does really well coming back, and it does really well in June, where they don't usually have something doing well, maybe that would be a factor that says, oh, maybe we should do this a little bit differently next year. Hell, maybe they'll try and have both of them on, like 2 shows being on it that little late
Yeah,
in the
no,
year.
it gives them an extra advertising slot in June,
Yeah.
essentially.
So if it does well there, I think maybe they'll consider doing something similar. Right now, my guess would be that that's not the plan. My guess right now would be they're
Trying something else.
yeah, they're working out something else. What that is, I don't know. And that's assuming they're sticking to the no 5 at one time rule.
Yeah, and like I say, it's worth noting that this happened essentially because Supergirl had some production issues. So they kind of came up with this solution. So
My best guess right now is that it's Legends and Black Lightning sharing a slot, because that just makes more sense because they're the 2 shorter shows.
yeah, no, it does.
My guess is that Legends starts first, it's there for the crossover, it finishes, and then Black Lightning starts in like March. That'd be my guess
yeah,
right now.
late March slot. That's it's kind of the time where iZombie starts.
Yeah, that'd be my guess right now. But
Yeah.
but hey, so the Legends finale was good. Before
really
Connor
was.
shoved us down that tangent.
Sorry. It was a worthwhile discussion, probably.
I'm still blaming you. Alright, but that will take us on to The Flash, Season 4, Episode 17. It's called Null and Annoyed. So, I'll start this with being very blunt.
Go on.
I thought this was an extremely mediocre episode of The Flash.
Yeah. And do you know what I'm going to say on top of that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of over the season as an arc.
Sure.
I'm kind of over the Thinker. I'm over the bus metas. I don't think this break helped, but in general, I'm kind of just feeling like, okay.
We thought the bus metas was going to be done before Christmas, and then that would lead into where it goes afterwards, and it didn't. Instead, we're still here in April talking about the bus metas.
And here's the thing.
But that's not my problem though with the episode.
No, we'll get to that in a second. But here's the thing. I still don't know what the Thinker's plan is. Like, what's his point? What's he trying to accomplish? I have no idea what his goal is. I know he wants the bus metas to do something, but why?
TBD.
Yeah, but why am I supposed to care that he's going for this? I like. Is he going for world domination? Is he trying to live forever? I don't know. I don't know what he wants.
TBD.
It's really frustrating though at this point of the season to not have a clue what the villain wants.
TBD. To be determined. If the writers have even got the answer yet, but they'll have it at some point for us.
Oh, they better do.
No, it's dragging a little bit, but my problems with this, but I'm kind of okay with it, because even in Legends, which I have loved this season, I think to a point the Malice stuff did feel kind of like dragged out a bit, but it didn't matter because things were so fun anyway.
It did. Legends really leaned into the fun side of things. Like Flash has leaned more into the fun than it has ever before. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, this episode was kind of not a complete exclusion to that, but still, like. Because obviously our favourite episode of the season was probably one that was less to do with the Thinker stuff. That was Flash Time.
Oh yeah, easily the best this season.
Right. But there has been good episodes about the Thinker stuff. Especially before the Christmas
Before
break.
the body swapping.
Because we had the good actor doing the good things, and it actually presented some interesting challenges. Since then, it's been a bit more wishy-washy. But I don't think that's my complaint specifically with this episode. This episode, I'll get the smaller complaint out of the way first, but then I've got a much bigger one that was really irking me. The smaller one is just, I do think the awkward Jay and Silent Bob cameo felt really forced to me, because if you took those two actors out and you just put in the two extras who were just there for that scene, you would not have had as much screen time with them at all.
No, you wouldn't. I kind of love it because I love Jay and Silent Bob in a weird way. As much as they're awful, I kind of love them in a cartoony fashion. I
do not. So I was just like, okay, here's the bit, and I thought, okay, so they're out with the crate, and then they go away, and then the meta, who's the meta for the week, comes in.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine, but then they come back out and they talk a bit more. It's like, oh no, and then we cut to the crime scene part of it, and Jay's like talking to one of the cops, and he's going, and then they come in again with the vase, and they're going to smash it, and then Ralph accidentally makes one of them trip,
and we don't even get Silent Bob giving a speech, because that's his thing. It's like he's silent, and then he gives one speech.
So it was gratuitous to me.
No, I agree. Like it was just for the let's do it. Why not? They
had way too much screen time for what it was. If they just had them be there in those little roles, but didn't extend it out to this ridiculous degree, I'd have been fine with it. But so that's a small complaint. The bigger complaint I've got is that I'm at a point now where they have given me whiplash with at what point in the journey and the relationship are we at with Barry and Ralph. I have literally been stretched back and forth, much like Ralph's arms.
Stretched, that's what you're going with.
I'm doing it for the pun. Always in service of the pun. Because, he doesn't trust Ralph, but at the end of the episode, how many episodes this season has the episode been about Ralph either doubting himself, not being trusted to be useful, or something akin to those, and then in the final fight of the episode, he proves himself.
Yeah.
We've done that 5 times this season.
I'm pretty sure it was 2 episodes ago, exactly 2 episodes ago, that we ended with Barry being his PI assistant.
Yes, which yeah, well, that's the thing though. Even the episode directly after that, it was back to Ralph being scared and not wanting to go outside.
Well, yeah, he wasn't there in that episode though, was he? He was just hidden, right? That was the episode where he was off screen.
Well, no, you're confusing 2 things, because we definitely complained that after that whole thing where he was down, he's like, oh, I'm going to fight for her, and because she deserves justice, you're going to be my PI, right? There was an episode after that, maybe not directly the next one, because he was missing for an episode, but there was an episode after that where the whole thing with Ralph was that he was too scared to go outside, and he was a pussy. That was the last episode, I think, with Melting Point. No, it wasn't Melting Point, because that was the one with Iris getting his powers. Whatever one it was. But Ralph...
This break has not helped, has it?
It's not. But Ralph was scared to go outside, and the whole thing was that he was like, there's another meta. That case, one more before it gets to me. That actually may have been the Iris episode, actually, now I'm thinking about it. But, right, and then by the end of the episode, he's kind of like, okay, I'll be a bit more brave or whatever. And he's not been like that in this episode, but again, I am, Barry as well has been kind of unlikable these past, few. Ralph, so him and Ralph, they're back and forth, and I feel we've had this plot before, because this episode, again, it's all episode, Ralph, you're not taking things seriously, you're just joking. And in the last scene, he proves himself by saving the day, and it's just like, we've done this. We've done this with Ralph multiple times this season already, in some variation.
There was a point where he says, Ralph's got to think like me, and Iris calls him out on it. And I'm like, okay, we didn't do this exactly with Ralph, but it was, the country singer girl.
Yeah.
That Think is in now. That was the whole thing with her. It was like, she's got to be as good as me. I've got to train her up to fight like me. And Iris was like, hey, no, you don't.
There's too many points that was repetitive, basically, at this point. We've done this dance too much. On top of that, and just in terms of other small things, I think the meta this week, I mean, the actress was fine, whatever, but I thought the effects with her powers were a bit weird. Whenever she, because her whole thing is she touches something, she makes it float. I thought that was fine. I did get a laugh out of Barry being a balloon, essentially, for, a scene, and everyone making jokes at him, and Barry being angry about it.
Falling down.
Amusing stuff. But she could also, essentially Spider-Man herself by, floating up herself and holding on to, the roofs and stuff. Every time she would sort of land by coming down, I thought the effect looked really awkward. It looked very unnatural the way she fell into frame. I don't believe that she actually fell from that high. It felt weird. Right. Every time it bugged me. There was something off about it. And it's all just kind of there to serve that. And then Cisco's plot was okay. There was some chuckles to be had, but
yeah, I have a real problem with where I know it's going. So there's a point where so Breach is back and he's struggling with his powers, and
he can't. Yeah, he can still open breaches, but he can't blast.
Can't shoot. Yeah. And at the end, he says to Cisco, "Is like, hey, you know what? You're all right. I'm gonna retire. You can come take my place in the whatever his organization's called. I can't remember now.
Breaching Incorporated.
Yeah, he basically says, "You be the new Breacher."
Yeah. Work with my daughter. You want to see her more? Go be her partner.
Right. And I know this is going to end at the end of the season. Cisco's going to go and go, do you know what? I'm going to go take this job. And then the first episode of next season, he's going to be like, yeah, it didn't work out.
Yep.
I know that's going to happen because that's every season, and I'm sick of it.
You know what? I'll give them points if he immediately takes it next episode, and there's actually some time where he's out and in because he's constantly breaching away to do other things. Yeah. Actually, here's another thing that bugged me in this episode, and this really pissed me off. There's a point in this episode where Barry benches Ralph, right? He's like, no, you're not going out again because you're being reckless and you're just making jokes of everything and blah, blah, blah.
Ralph has some good references at the start, though.
Oh, he has an awful reference at the start, though. I appreciate a good pun, but the pun that he makes in this episode should never have made it into a professionally written... Someone paid for this script. This script was paid for.
I know. I love how bad it is, though.
And they spend 5 minutes setting up that he thinks he's a stand-up comedian, just so that he can say, maybe we can be like a team of superhero stand-up comics. We could go to Washington and we'd be the DC comics. And I'm like... That pun is too bad for me. Me! I make terrible puns.
You have no shame in how bad your puns are. You just did Stretched 5 minutes ago.
The DC comics.
Oh God.
Should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. But you got the Turtles reference before that, so it's fine.
Ah, yeah, Turtles one, yeah.
I think there was one in that same scene before the Turtles. I can't remember now, though.
Because he's look at Master Splinter.
Yeah.
And he puts his head into his body like a turtle would.
Yeah.
It's a neat little trick. And I did enjoy the scene where he turned into Joe to scare the Scottish, PI that he hates.
I'm the best dad cop around.
Yeah, it's because at one point Barry accidentally calls him Joe, and he sort of gets angry again. Or Ralph, yeah. And then when he actually eventually confesses, and it's he turns to Barry and goes, yeah, Joe West is never wrong. And he goes back. And that really cracked me up. Especially later on when Joe's like, hey, Ralph, do you know why I get a call from this PI guy saying that he was going to pay your tab? It's like, I don't know. He's just scared of Joe West now. So that was amusing. Points for that. Yeah. And then there was some jokes. The whole thing with, Thingy's dad, Breacher, basically just being old. I was okay. That's kind of more interesting than anything else. And I did enjoy the weird joke where we actually see him fighting this vampire on this other universe, and Cisco brings a sunlight gun. He's like,
It's like sunlight doesn't work on these vampires.
yeah, like that was fun little background C plot stuff.
It was,
But the
and,
main
and this
plot.
is I think
Anyway,
I don't
on.
really like this episode, obviously. Oh,
I was getting to my complaint. I got sidetracked.
oh yeah,
So he's benched Dimney, and the meta's like up again, and she's doing something. I think this is just before she's got the car in the air and the car drops, and Barry has to run up and like get the guy. Fine little action scene, whatever. This is a cool action moment on its own. But it's before that. It's when like, it pops up. Oh, Meta's at the bank. She's doing this, and Iris is like, "Oh, you need backup," and it's like, "Oh, I'm not taking Ralph." And she's like, "What about Cisco and Caitlin?" And he says, "No, they're with Breacher. It'll take too long." First of all, the scene we just had with him and Breacher left because he thought it was cured. This was during the break in the Breacher plot, so they weren't even that busy with Breacher at this moment. Secondly, you're the goddamn Flash. Run downstairs and grab them.
and then Cisco can literally teleport.
Yes, that is. There is nothing slow about it, and he just says,
You don't even have to run downstairs. Go, hey, guys, meet me there. Cisco, grab Caitlin. Let's go.
he just says, "No, it would take too long. I need to do this myself." And it's just Flash is guilty of this sometimes, where it'll just have reasons for people not to be around. But this was so lazy. Like this was so in your face, lazy and blatant. It bugged me.
Like the Jay and Silent Bob thing aside, every problem of this is in the script.
Oh,
this
yeah,
episode.
absolutely, yeah.
And the writers' room have a lot to answer for here.
Yeah, this was a terribly written episode. So many things wrong with it. All the things I've mentioned, the repetitive Barry-Ralph relationship going, and once again, Barry learned by the end, Ralph is useful. You've learned this before.
You've got to let him Dibney it up.
You've done that. You've let him do this before,
Yeah.
though. This is the thing. And don't get me wrong, I had fun with the like. I actually thought he was going to like make more of a big sort of like a trampoline rather than like a whoopee cushion for him to land on at the end. You know, when Barry's falling through the sky.
Yeah, it's a throwback to when Harry sat on the whoopee cushion.
I know, but I would have had more fun with the trampoline effect. I thought he was going to get big, stretchy, and thin, so that he would, boing.
No, I'm with you.
Instead, it was just a big whoopee cushion, which, whatever. It worked.
Fart joke.
His fart joke. Which is kind of the point, to be fair, but still, I'm not. This was a really murkily written episode, and we'd already done the Ralph Barry relationship thing too many times. Like, Ralph being too scared to go outside, and Barry tried to talk to him about that. We complained about that at the time because that was annoying. It didn't jive with where we'd just seen them from the previous episode, from the previous interaction. This one didn't contradict what we just seen of them as much, but it still felt like we're just treading old ground again.
It does, and it's a real problem. Like I said, I'm kind of feeling done with the show right now because I'm like, well, you're just you start off strong, you give me some ideas, and then you spin your wheels for the remaining third, 2/3, and then it's like, okay, then you'll do something at the end that's fresh because you've got an ending now.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, we should mention Thinker's part of the episode with his wife.
Yeah.
Where he's actually using the tears of the love meta to keep her drugged up. She keeps realizing that she's being drugged to be controlled, and she's leaving herself messages, but she finds that she's already left one. So this has happened multiple times.
Yeah, I like that idea though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do exactly what was going to happen as she was saving the file. I was like, oh, there's definitely one there already.
Yeah, again, this was a fine idea. I thought this worked well enough on its own. I am ready for him to switch bodies though, so I don't have to listen to that accent.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
I'll just.
How long till he just takes her body though?
I don't know, because he's all, "Oh, I love you. I need you by my side," and it's like, aye, but when there's no bodies around, you have to pick someone to go in, like.
Yeah. But this is my question. Like, what's his plan? Like, they've been planning this for literally years. Like they were planning this before the particle accelerator went off.
I mean, I don't think we need to know the plan per se, but I think it's an obvious problem when we're not enjoying what he's actually doing.
Okay, I don't necessarily need to know the minutiae of his plan, but I'd like to know what his goal is.
again,
Like,
I
why
think,
is he doing what he's doing?
but again, I think that'd be fine if you were enjoying what he was doing. You wouldn't care that much. If this was Legends and it was being fun every episode, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, as a serious villain, it's not working particularly well, but it wouldn't matter that much for your enjoyment.
No, that's fair.
I think here it's like, well, no, because the actual episode-to-episode stuff with them now is just kind of getting dull. So you're focusing on the actual critique of it, and you're like, well, we don't know what his goal is, so it's hard to get invested in like the threat of him at this point. Especially since at this point he's proven how capable he is to like take down Team Flash. He put Barry in prison. He did all these things.
Every time they confront him, he takes them out.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so we've seen that he's capable of doing all this, and yet he's letting them, run around doing whatever for now. So I don't know. That was a frustrating episode.
Yeah, we had the Harry stuff as well. He's kind of getting a bit addicted to the thinking cap.
Yeah, because he actually goes and puts it in the secret Reverse Flash containment from before, and he turns on Gideon, and
he's getting a bit Wellsabard, isn't he?
Yeah, which is a really weird thing because he's not actually Wells, and when Wells had Eobard, or when Eobard had Wells' body, he wasn't Wells, he was just Eobard in Wells' body. So it's kind of weird to say that I'm getting really smart makes him more like Eobard.
Yeah, but the way he's acting, the way he talks to Gideon, is very reminiscent of that.
It is. So I hope they don't actually say that he's turning into essentially Eobard. I hope it's more just he wants to use Gideon because he sees it as
another tool.
As another tool. And maybe he's going to use the helmet more in secret because he thinks the others are going to disapprove that he keeps going back to it. But that's a new idea at least. That was easily one of the more interesting scenes of the episode.
Yeah.
Because he's up to something. Oh, what's going on? Oh, Gideon, we've not seen her in a long time. At least not in this show.
Every week on Legends.
Yeah. But different Gideon.
Yeah, of course. Better Gideon.
So, Gideon, who we've actually seen humanized and kissing Rip.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a nice moment on Legends, though, wasn't it? With Gideon and Rip's goodbye.
So, yeah, frustrating episode. It's weird. It's a shame that it's been gone for 3 weeks and then it comes back with probably the worst episode of the season. If not the objective worst, the one that's annoyed me the most.
That's the thing. I don't know if this is objectively any worse than some of the other episodes, but it's compounded to be worse because it's just repeating things we've already seen. We're saying, oh, it's doing this thing with Dibney again. I don't know if this is actually on an episode on its own worse than those other episodes with Dibney. I think it's just that we've already seen it with Dare. If they were just reversed in the other order,
I know people
we'd probably be saying the same.
I know people had a lot of critiques and didn't like the Iris Speed episode, and yeah, there's critiques about it, but I had way more fun with her with the powers than I did with Ethan in this episode.
No, I agree with that, and I had more problems with that than you did, for sure.
But there was a fun goofiness to enjoy, at least with her, like enjoying having the powers. There was something there.
It was still better than this, yeah.
This was just, I mean, as with any show with likeable characters, there's a few fun moments here or there, but they're not the major moments. They're not the major plot that's going on. And it's one small thing I did enjoy every time Danny Trejo tried to make blasts and it wasn't happening. So it was literally just this man in his 60s going, "Ugh, ugh," and it wasn't happening. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, no, it was.
So. That's Flash. Unfortunately, it was a disappointing return. But we'll go on to Black Lightning, which is Season 1, Episode 12, the penultimate episode of Black Lightning Season 1. It's called The Resurrection and the Light, The Book of Pain. So, this... do you know what's funny? I think the last couple we've been saying that, how are they going to wrap all these different things they've set up? Lala, Tobias, the ASA stuff... neatly in 2 more episodes. We think, they must be keeping stuff for future. And they may still be keeping stuff for future.
It doesn't feel that way anymore, does it?
But to be fair, I actually think this episode very neatly kind of brought a lot of them together. And not in a way that felt rushed, I don't think, for the most part. I think, because the ending with Lala, like, showing up at Tobias's, was actually, like, that didn't feel rushed to me because I was intrigued, because Tobias seems to be aware that he's around, and kind of seems like he might be responsible for him being around.
I assume so, given that... at first I was like, this seems a bit convenient, like just to tie this all into one plot now.
Yeah.
Rather, because, just Tobias is even more directly tied in with the ASA as well now.
Yeah, because Lady Eve was working for them, so now he's been kind of promoted, and because he even says this is the first time I'm speaking to you directly. This is the first
Yeah.
time.
So it is literally okay. All three threats into one now.
Uh, I have to give them credit though, because I thought there was no way they could tie them all together, and I think for the most part this has actually worked quite well.
Yeah, yeah, it's not the worst. Like I say, it feels a bit convenient, but that's far from the worst complaint I can have.
Yeah, no, I mean if they do wrap all things up, fair enough. I still think my guess is they'll save the missing kids, and
Yeah,
they'll take out maybe Lala as the
yeah. It
henchman,
feels ambitious to take out all of it in
or
one
maybe
episode.
Tobias, but maybe both. Maybe the ESA will still be a thing next season, or maybe Tobias will be the one thing left next season. I don't know, but at the very least, though, they actually have tied it all together in a way that mostly works for me. So I'll give them
It is,
credit
yeah.
there.
And just on the resurrection, like you were saying, it feels like Tobias is responsible. This makes sense given that we know he hasn't aged
Yeah.
since Jefferson was a kid.
Yeah, because he makes it like the reference when Lala comes in, he mentions something about the devil coming back or something like that. So he seems to be aware, and he's done it for his own purpose. And that's actually really interesting. I think that's actually. I mean, obviously we were intrigued when he came back. Well, okay, why did he come back? How did he come back? Tobias, like him showing up and be like, "Oh, I knew you're back, and it's I'm the one who brought you back." I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And obviously Tobias last time got injured, and he's back now. Explains his absence a little bit. It does give this season a really weird thing where it bounced around different ideas really well, and then brought them all back in together here.
It's got a very unconventional structure, hasn't it?
I kind of like it though, because
I think it's played kind of weirdly week to week for me in the sense where I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
where's this going? But again, I reserve the ability to change my mind on this next week. It feels like this might really play well as a whole.
Yeah, I think each episode on its own's had great pacing. We spoke about that last week. It's just kind of weird when you look at the whole season. You're like, oh wait, so we were on Tobias for a bit, and we had Khalil there, and then we switched or we had Lala at first, which kind of led into Tobias, and then it kind of switched, and then the ASA stuff came in, Gambi's stuff, and that sort of broke them up a little bit, and then brought them back. The sisters getting powers, and then we're kind of back to having everything involved again. It's kind of like, and I kind of like it in the way that kind of compartmentalizes the season a little bit. Not quite into arcs the same way that Shield say does, in the same way, because that's really defined and it's really stop and start.
I don't think it's always quite flowed between things that neatly though. Sometimes it felt like, okay, Tobias is just gone now. We'll do something else for a bit, and okay, Tobias is back. Like, it's been a bit jagged with its flow.
That's fair. I think it's flowed for me a little bit better than you, but.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was like, because for me when he showed up at the start of this episode, I'm like, okay, we're back to Tobias. And it's like, oh yeah, he's been out. Yeah, when his sister got killed, like he got hurt, and he's been down and out. And I'm like, all right. So it's going. So I will say that when Khalil walked in, and it took me a second to realize it was him because of the dreads. I was like, because the camera went up, and I went, oh, it's Khalil. Wait, how long has he been gone? His hair's like super long.
Well, that's it. He was in the previously on, like they did all the stuff with him in the previously on. I was like, I guess Khalil's back in this one because I've been questioning that in the last few reviews, of course. And then it does this shot of someone's walking through the door, and it's being all ominous. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's Khalil. Before it even gets to his face, and someone's walking through, I'm like, I guess this is him.
Yeah,
and then there it is.
That's a little bit the shocking thing. He's walking again. How's that happening? Which obviously is brought up, and we see that he's got like a spinal implant. It's this new thing.
$1 million tech.
Yeah, more than just a little chip in his ass.
Yeah. It looks like it took some real work, and like it says, it hurt.
Yeah, you can see it going all the way up his spine. This is a proper. It's almost like he's got cybernetic legs, especially the way that he can jump really high now, and he can, his legs are really strong. But yeah, the dreads really threw me. I was like, wait, dreads? Who's good dread? What? Am I meant to know this guy? I'm like, oh, it's Khalil. It wasn't until I started speaking and I heard the voice. I'm like, okay. And then my one complaint about this, because they actually explained the long hair, because I was like, how long has he meant to have been away? Like, this has only been because the show's been relatively going in real time, if not like more decompressed.
Slightly slower,
yeah. And obviously, Jefferson when he sees him brings it up, and then Jennifer brings it up, and he's like, oh no, it was something. The drugs they gave him made his hair grow really fast. And I'm like, okay. I'm not sure creatively the point of this beyond just giving a completely a visual different appearance, because now he's like a full on villain.
I think that's it. Yeah.
If that's the choice. My only critique is that I do think there was times when it was really obviously not his real hair.
Yeah.
There was times when you looked at his hairline and it just was like, yeah, that's not quite, connecting with the head the way real hair would be. But other than that, whatever. So the episode kind of revolves around. He's told by the SA they want Black Lightning alive because he's the one person who's, to their knowledge, has survived with powers because everyone else eventually died.
Yeah, and that's why they've got all the kids on ice. It's
Yeah.
like they're like trying to stop them dying and study them.
Yeah, and obviously when I say eventually, I don't mean like eventually they got old and died. I mean eventually they died fairly quickly.
Yes, from you know,
Yeah.
like, we talk about how Green Light was a vaccine. Obviously, a vaccine is just a small version of the disease. It's still a live version of it, but you know, clearly it was too strong, and they died from it.
And they've enhanced the powers and stuff, but they've not stopped the killing. So they want him alive to study him. So Tobias isn't very thrilled with this, but he's like, okay, Khalil's whole plan. Khalil, of course, Jennifer. I appreciated that Jefferson went to see Jennifer and told her about Khalil. I thought, okay, right, he's been honest with her, and then he's been honest with like, no, stay away. Like he's different. He seems to be involved with people. You know, he reads a lot between the lines, but he's right about everything, so it's kind of hard to follow him. But of course, she's like, I did think it was a bit weird though. But she got a text from Khalil immediately afterwards.
And I was gonna say, I think it feels really weird how she just ignores her dad. Like it was one thing before she knew that he was Black Lightning, but now after this, it's like, no, okay, she should probably be trusting his judgment on these things a little bit more.
I can live with that. For me, that's just still her not grown enough yet. Like, no, that's just a character thing, which she, may get over now, given the events of this episode.
I get that. It just feels like, given that how much she trusted her parents to, tell them anything at the start of the season, as we had some mighty fine fun with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It feels weird now that she's kind of like doesn't trust them. Like it feels like it's kind of gone the.
Well, I don't think it's a lack of trust. I think it's just more hope that her boyfriend's trustworthy. Enough. I think it's that she trusts him too much rather than she doesn't trust her parents. And she runs off to see him, and the scene works well enough, and she's clearly not just wanting to get back together. Like, she kind of pulls away when he tries to kiss her, and he runs off and whatever else. But the whole thing is he comes to the school to draw Black Lightning out, and he goes in and just starts shooting little sleeping darts at people, which. It was an odd choice. I thought it was a bit of a weird choice, like him having these, these gauntlets essentially with little, sleeping dart guns on them.
I get it. Even this AS8, they don't want to just go around killing kids, but.
Oh wait, no. I get that being sleeping darts. I just thought them being gauntlets that he was sort of spinning around
just
and
had a dart gun.
Yeah, essentially is what I'm saying. Because we had all this imagery of him firing out his hands and spinning around and whatever else, which felt a bit. I think this is easily the most comic booky episode of this show.
Yeah, and not for the better necessarily. In a way, this has been at its best. It's been very grounded in what it's doing.
I think I wouldn't say for the better. I wouldn't say for the worse. I think it sort of comes out neutral.
Okay, I think I'm slightly negative on it here, where it was it felt a little excessive, and I'm like, this is just because, rather than actually serving the show.
Him with the gauntlets at first, not so much. Once Black Lightning and Thunder show up, though, and we get the fights, I actually really enjoyed all that stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Them going through the hall, Jennifer tried to speak to him, and Black Lightning's like, just go! Just stop blowing my cover, go!
Yeah.
But he, he ends up fighting Tobias, Thunder fights Fringe, whatever her name is. I can't remember. Cyanide.
Fringe will do nicely.
No, she's got a good name, though. Cyanide. I like that name.
That is a good name.
That's really good, actually. With an S.
I don't remember hearing that.
I actually do vaguely remember hearing... I remember reading it, at least. I remember thinking it was cool. So we're back to Cyanide. But Thunder actually... Oh, this is actually kind of cool. This means that when he's eventually fighting Tobias, she's got someone to fight as well. She's got this broad. And they have to have the fight... Because she's actually holding kids hostage, waiting for whoever, and Thunder comes in.
As soon as she walks in the room.
It's like, kids, get out, it's fight time. And I kind of like that, obviously at first it's like, yeah, you get no chance. She's got she's bulletproof and she's got super strength. But she lasts out long enough, and then Anissa starts to kind of get tired almost. She's using her powers too much.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing, it's only while she's holding her breath.
Yeah, and she's
I could do with them cutting back on that breath sound effect a little bit.
That's fair. But she gets kind of tired at one point, and then she starts getting beat back. But what I love about this though is that Jennifer's outside the door and she's looking in. First her sister's winning, then she's losing, and she's and obviously this whole episode, her mom's kind of promising hey, I'll look into this. I might be able to take care
suppress
of
the
it.
gene.
Yeah, I might be able to essentially cure you. But when she brings this up to her dad, he gets kind of upset about it. Because obviously at the start of the episode, they kind of reconcile. They have like a romantic night. And like,
Yeah, they're basically back together. They're like, but let's not tell the kids just yet.
yeah, and then, later on he's angry. Because he almost feels like... And you kind of get it though when he gets angry. He's like, do you think she's sick? Do you think I'm sick? It's like, no, this is who we are. This is... we're metas. This is just who we are. It almost like an X-Men scene. It was like, no, this is...
It did.
My secondary race, essentially.
Yeah, no, I really like the point of the scene. Him saying, it's a good job we didn't tell the girls we were back together, was a little awkward, clunky dialogue.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But yeah,
sure.
I really like the point of the scene, like you say, like the actual, the idea of, he feels under threat from this, because if there's a cure for her, what's to stop her saying, right, can you take this, stop being Black Lightning and, and be my husband?
Yeah, you're asking him to stop being what he is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or who he is, I think, more specifically. And I like that. I like that.
I do too.
That exploration there. But obviously, so the reason why I bring that up now though is because like she's been saying, "I want to lose my powers. I'm excited about losing my powers." I liked her also tricking her mother into like making her cake. Some mothers would just be shitty and make me a cake. Do you want me to make you a cake? Chocolate with icing.
Yeah.
But and this is in this fight, and she's trying to like, get her powers to work. She's like, "I want to help." She's like trying to, and we've been saying a long time that what probably makes her join the fight is probably a moment like this where she needs to join the fight. Yeah. And she can't quite do it. She ends up running away. And that's the wins the fight, though. And I actually really like that, obviously, Khalil and Tobias are teaming up. They stop his powers. They shoot him with a dart that suppresses his powers. And he has to fight Tobias one-on-one just in combat. And we've seen that Tobias is quite formidable in that realm.
He's a big dude. He's got some... Clearly, he's been around long enough to have some training.
Well, we saw the cage fighting. Remember, he was like hiring like, cage fighters just so he could practice, and he was annoyed that they weren't good enough.
And Gambi's there going, "Hey, this is probably a bad idea. Don't do this."
And there's a point where like Gambi's like, "Hey, Anissa, go help your dad. He needs help. He's screwed." And this was before Khalil even shows up. I think this was still when it was 1-on-1.
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yeah, and then Khalil shows up and it's 2-on-1, and Tobias holds him, and Khalil punches him so hard in the heart that he stops it. And he's actually dying. And you can see where this was going, but I actually didn't mind so much because I actually kind of like the idea of Jennifer literally giving him a jump start.
Yeah.
Because she does it kind of by accident, and then Gambi's like, "Whatever she just did, do it again, do it again, charge him." So I like that. I also like the visual of Anissa like carrying him in the safe house at the end. Because she's got the super strength, she's like carrying this, the big, because her dad's like twice her size, and it's just like,
oh yeah, he's a big dude, isn't he?
Like I have to wonder how they like pull, like is she just physically strong enough to do that for a few seconds, or like was like there's someone just off shot like helping with a hand just to make it a little bit easier. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just strong enough. Maybe she lifts a lot of weights. Maybe she can just do it.
Yeah, maybe it's not unfeasible.
It's not unfeasible, but it's still like a visual, like to see this, because a big dude, and she's like just carrying him like he's nothing. It's pretty cool. And I also like the small moment that Gammy's like, "Here, where's your phone?" And he grabs the other phone from one of the other people, and he's like, "Hey, go smash these and then run water over them so they can't trace it." But I love for a split second as Jennifer's like hearing this, "My phone." Just do that teenage girl response. But my Facebook and my Twitter and my Snapchat. How can you, Gamby? This is a bigger betrayal than getting my grandfather killed. How dare you?
Sure, they should get one of those new phones that have been announced. They're specifically for South Korea, where they're smartphones, but they don't connect to the internet. No matter what, you can't, like, the point of them is so that to not distract you from studying.
Okay.
But you can't. It's like a phone and text, but that's it. I'm like, well, why is it a smartphone?
Maybe this is stupid TV logic here, but can they not still bounce, if they phone someone, can they not bounce the signal and get what cell tower they're using? Is that not still a thing?
They can, but if you just turn it off, right?
Oh, sure. Then they still can't use it, so I mean, I guess the only thing came out of this would be our phone would still be okay to go back to afterwards.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not that much of a gain, but fair enough. Yeah. Good point. Good bit of trivia there.
Yeah. I don't know. I just saw it today. I was like, oh, it was weird timing.
So I think ultimately, though, despite some maybe a bit too much comic bookiness in a couple of cases, although I still kind of appreciated it once they were actually in the school fighting. Like, I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, the fight was fun. It just some of the other stuff felt a bit tonally inconsistent with the show.
For the most part, I liked this a lot, though. I was a little bit worried early on. I thought the Khalil stuff might not be so hot. And it may still be the weakest part overall.
Yeah, when
but,
he's talking to Jefferson in the street.
Yeah, I was a bit on the nose.
Yeah, okay.
I was a bit on the nose. And honestly, we've always said that he looked far too old to be a high school student, but it's even worse now.
Yeah.
See when he was in the school, and all the other actors seem to be a bit younger as well. Maybe not quite the ages they're playing, but they definitely look like younger than him. And they're coming saying, "This isn't you, Khalil," and he's just like hitting them and knocking them out. And I'm like, you look like you're easily 10 years older than everyone here.
It does, doesn't it?
Except the teacher who comes up to you. Him, maybe like 2 years younger.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, but it's whatever. Like, you kind of accept that in TV shows and just go with it. But
yeah. But it was when he's turned to Jefferson and he's like, oh, you stopped caring about me when you couldn't use me as a poster boy, when I couldn't run anymore. I'm like, really? We're doing this?
Yeah. He's been brainwashed with a bias. He's doing something.
Yeah.
I admit, though, that was probably the worst scene of the episode, though.
It makes sense. I get it, but it was kind of just tedious.
Yeah, no. I think Khalil as a character is there for plot reasons, and I liked what it did for Jennifer, and I kind of like what it's going to do for Jennifer now, and to an extent Jefferson, in terms of, this is someone he lost, this is a kid he couldn't save, but himself as a character is kind of thin.
I agree. It's why the last year I've been saying, like, we kind of really need to get back to the Khalil stuff, because it felt like it'd been so long.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to feel like he has more weight now. I feel like what we get for the other characters from him will be the important stuff, and then himself will just be wrapped
I agree.
up.
I think we left it too long to make him feel really, like relatable in this villainous state.
Yeah. Tobias and Lala are way more interesting as villains.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm really curious to see how this. Obviously, we end with Jefferson still kind of hurt. They're going to patch him up, and Lala's came to see Tobias. So I'm not sure which one it'll be. Probably Tobias, or maybe SA. I think one of the elements is still survive until next season. I just don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I think Lala goes out because, one, he's the underling to everyone. Because, the chain of command is ASA, Tobias, although Tobias arguably has his own thing on the side as well, that he's got his own agenda.
Yeah.
And then Lala is under Tobias, for sure. And then also, as we've been saying, Lala really ties the season together because that's what kicked it off for the girls. Yeah. So I think Lala's definitely the one that goes.
Because I think if you actually remove the ASA, at least I could see the ASA being something they kind of take out for a bit, but in the sense that they'll take out this main guy we've been seeing, what's his name, Proctor, and they'll stop sort of his operation, but the organisation will still exist and might come back later. But I think if you take out them, Tobias is even more of a threat in season 2, because then he's like, now he's not answering to anyone, now he is just his own boss.
Yeah.
And does that make him more dangerous in season 2? Does that level him up?
It definitely makes him more interesting.
So I could see that being a potential thing. We will leave off at the end of the season, but I shall still stop protecting. I think this was a solid episode. I think a couple of shaky little things I said. I think all the ideas and a lot of the scenes and the payoffs were mostly really working for me.
Agreed. Yeah. Again, as we said a lot, this show has been very consistent. Episode to episode.
It's actually been shockingly consistent. It's amazing comparing it to Supergirl. Or not Supergirl, sorry, more Flash. Flash, which goes all over the place. Like you'll have in this season so far, we've had 17 episodes. There's been like one amazing episode, 3 or 4 great episodes, 3 or 4 mediocre, a couple really bad ones. Like it's all over the place, and it's not like that's the order. It's like bouncing around.
No, exactly.
Constantly.
Here, I feel like it's maybe lost some of the appeal that it had. The first few where it's like, oh, this is fresh and new and exciting, and it's settled into its groove. But I think it's been just as good as those episodes still. But it's I'm impressed with how consistent it has been.
It is. Absolutely is. I think when Supergirl's at its best, I like Supergirl more because it just really appeals to my love of the character and the super mythos and all that. But Black Lightning, I think, is the better show.
I agree, and it's the same way I feel about this and Legends. Is when Legends is doing its thing, I'm not gonna lie, I have more fun with Legends. I prefer to watch it. But this is objectively a better TV show.
It's better than Flash for sure. It's definitely better than goddamn Arrow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about those two.
So no. So no, we're looking forward to the finale next week, and we'll see how it wraps up. And who knows? It might be until 2019 before we get season 2 if they start it after Christmas again. Which my guess right now it would be, but we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, we never know. And I am genuinely intrigued to see what's wrapped up and how things are wrapped up in this last episode, because it feels like there's a lot to do, a lot that they could do.
Do you think there's a chance Lynn dies? Maybe not right now, but I feel like
not this season.
I feel like it could be the thing that convinces Jennifer to commit to the superhero life.
Yeah, I get that. It feels a bit cheap though for me, so I hope not. To just let's kill the mother to give her inspiration.
I don't think it's cheap. Not if they do it right.
I feel like it's cheap to do it right now.
Sure.
I feel like she's got to be more leaning towards that way already, whereas she's kind of not. She's completely against it right now, and that would just be a complete flip for her. So it'd feel easy to me to be, all right, let's kill the parent for the motivation right now. To me, I wouldn't really be a fan of that.
I don't know. It depends how they do it. I can't say definitively. I think sometimes you just pick rules that you don't want to see them do. Like
I just as a story progression for where the character is right now, like as where she's so against it, and her mother's the one that's on her side with, okay, you don't have to be. Her dying now to inspire her into doing it doesn't play for me.
Oh no, that's fair. I think more often than me, you'll just say definitively, if they do this, I won't like it. And I feel like I avoid ever saying that because I never. I mean, there's definitely times I'll say one way or the other. Like, if you just flat out give me some ideas, I'm sure there'll be some that I'm like, no, that sounds terrible. But I'm open to it. I can see potential in it working. Not necessarily right now. I'm not saying right now, but I feel like she's the one who would go. A part of me thinks it's interesting though if Black Lightning not dies, but let's say he loses his powers semi-permanently. Like let's say they actually take his powers away for a season. And this is on her own, and that's maybe the reason why Jennifer says, "Oh no, she needs help. Like she can't do this on her own."
I think that's the most interesting thing they could do, but it's the same thing we've been saying about Flash for 3 seasons.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. I feel like this is the show that could pull it off and actually do it because make him the principal full time and have him be the mentor.
You can have him be the mentor. Yeah, take over from Gambi or partner with Gambi at the very least.
Which, I like that moment actually when Gambi's like saying, "Oh, be careful, they're looking for you." It's like, "Hey, they'll be looking for you too." He's like, "Yeah, but like, I'm not going to be the one who saves the world, so I'm not as important." And he walks out. I kind of like that moment. But yeah, because I actually thought at one point when they had him knocked out, I thought it was before they said he was dead. I was like, "Oh, they're going to take him, and then the final episode will be Anissa going to get him, and Jennifer's going to that's when she's going to become Thunder or Lightning, sorry, because she's going to Anissa needs help rescuing him."
No, I can see that.
And it wouldn't necessarily be the start of the full-time thing. It would just be like, no, this was a one-time thing to help. But it would be the seed. It would be she can do this when she's called upon. And then, more and more occasions would wrap up and so on.
It'll be a point where every little thing she'd be like, oh, I should probably help.
Yeah, we'll get to that point with Thea, where she's like, aliens, I'm sitting back up for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Dear. Honestly, on the subject, actually, I know what's his face, Amel, was saying I expect that we'll cross over with Black Lightning at some point. It's inevitable. I am genuinely curious to see it happen. Partly because Jefferson's so much older than like most of the other heroes. I think that'd be kind of a fun, difference between them. And partly also because I just want more than anything, I think I want to see the daughters interact with a bunch of the other characters.
That's fair. I'm more excited to see Jefferson with someone like Oliver Queen, because in the universe, Oliver's supposed to be like he's the experienced one, right? He's the wise old man essentially. That we had early on. He was the one training Barry, and it's all kind of come down from him. It'd be really nice to come in Jefferson just be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah,
I did this for years, then retired and came back.
It's just to school him.
I'm an old timer. No, I see potential. I feel like I don't know. I think there's potential with lots of various team ups. The obvious one's Sarah and Anissa meeting.
Obviously.
Obviously Sarah's in a relationship now, so we can't have it's not like with Alex, but there is potential.
She's you know what? Relationship or not, she's still going to be flirty.
She'll be flirty. But that's the thing. I can even see the joke being like Ava, like sort of like intentionally steps in between them at one point, just like, hey.
Yeah.
Holds her hand.
You said you were going to stop this.
Makes it very clear.
Yeah, pretty much.
In fact, I like that little joke actually, where this is like, oh, there's a guy who graduated a year before me. He's in this, he's with the electrical company now, and I phoned him because we're looking for electrical spikes to find these.
Like, didn't he have a crush on you?
It's like, I didn't flirt with him, Dad. He just wants to help the community, and I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah,
you turned on that flirt, and you're like, you conveniently didn't mention you were out as gay now. You conveniently just no, flirt. It's fine.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Hey. A superhero uses all their available resources.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Krypton next. Episode 4, season 1. It's called The Word of Row, which I actually thought it said The World of Row the first time I saw the title. That makes more sense. I mean, World of Row still worked. Like,
it does. The implication that this is his world.
Yeah, no,
it would have worked.
It works. So this episode, kind of dealing with a lot of the fallout of the last episode, where Vex is told by Row, I want a culprit, I want someone who we can show the rankless, that there's someone that's been, held responsible and therefore it's been dealt with and they don't have to worry anymore. Try and, like, appease them a little bit. And Vex basically just picks Lyta. It's like, alright, we'll pick her. She's working with Black Zero. Let's just execute her. So a lot of the episodes dealing with that. Nissa Vex is like asked by Seg to like go and help her, and it's funny actually because I think ultimately like one of her bargaining chips with her father is she's like, hey, you're going to ruin, like, you wanted, and this is actually kind of interesting. We didn't really necessarily know why he wanted Seg so much before. And we're getting kind of hints of that where she's like, you want him to help you unite everyone into one sort of unified Kandor. You want to overthrow Row, or the voice of Row specifically. You can't overthrow the god.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems relatively noble at its core.
Even though he's a complete dick about it, yeah.
Yeah, he's going about it in a very dictatorish way.
But and she's like, but you wanted that, and you might have ruined that if you don't help her. You picked the one person that might ruin all that. He's like, why? What does that have to do with Seg? He's like, because he loves her. He's going to blame you for this, and then he's going to revolt against you. You might be creating a mortal enemy out of this. And he looks terrified about it when she leaves. Like, he holds up the posture a little bit when she's still there, and then he like sits down and he's like, oh god, no.
Oh shit, what have I done?
What have I done? So obviously we expect her to get out of it because we're not losing our second lead character, a few episodes in. That's just not happening.
Yeah. This ain't Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
No matter what it tries to be.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we get Seg and Dev M. Dev M like is very confrontational with them. He of course is going to marry Lyta and he has feelings for her. And of course we also get Nissa with Lyta and have them kind of like verbally spar a little bit as well. So there's all these weird pairings of people who know they're in love with other people, but they're meant to be with the other one kind of thing going on.
It's the sort of love triangling I don't mind. Because it's all out in the open, and it's there's not really hiding it. It's all just it's playing it up intentionally, and it's not going for drama. It's going for conflict.
Yeah, it's playing up the fact that they're kind of forced into these arranged relationships when they all very well know who they all care about.
Yeah, they know the reality is this is arranged. People love other people, but this is what we're stuck with. So we kind of got to work with this situation.
Yeah. So. And this I kind of already knew. She gets it confirmed in this episode because we saw that moment last episode. She's like, oh yeah, I've got my secrets too. When he was staring at her, but she makes him like kind of admit it in this one before she'll help him.
Yeah, exactly.
So that stuff's going on, and the looking. So a couple of things. First of all, the Rom who was taken over by Brainiac, her daughter. There's a whole plot thread here of them being terrified to tell her that her mother's basically dead, and Clem eventually kind of does, but there's some things back and forth here, and she actually wants to go and give this little tribute to the voice of Row. It's the start of the
Nova,
that was it, Nova cycle. But I'll be honest, this is the first time I really felt the budget in the show, not from an effects point of view, but because he's like, oh, it's the start of the Nova cycle, as if it's this big religious celebration for the next little while, and it's still just a little town square that we've had with the same amount of people.
True. And there was the first time I felt the effects budget as well.
Oh, what was that?
The bug creature that goes into to Seg.
yeah, I noticed that. I didn't think it was terrible.
It's
but,
not awful, don't run.
yeah.
By TV standards, it's still fairly good. It's just it looked noticeably weaker than anything else we've had in the show.
I think it's just naturally easier to do cityscapes and ships than it is an animal.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It just stood out, and it was like it's not bad. It's just slightly weaker than everything else.
Hey, if Brainiac keeps looking as good as he does, I'll take it.
I don't care. I'll take these bugs looking however they do, all day long.
But yeah, so and she actually becomes one of the Word of Rao, one of the women who have the sort of the basically he's like what would you call him? Like he's like devout followers who follow him around and like help him and assist him with things. And I actually kind of liked it when we seen him getting ready for the day. We never see his face because his followers constantly look down and don't look at his face. So
but he hasn't got the mask on.
Yeah, but we sort of see it from their perspective, and in the way that we never see his face, despite the fact that he's walking around without a mask. But of course, the big twist is because we find out that Rob dies, and it means that the Brainiac has left her, right?
Yeah.
The parasite from Brainiac has left her. So it's looking for another source. And I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming where it was going with it being in the little statue that the girl had. But at the end of the episode, the big little twist, I don't know what I meant, is that it's in the statue, and it's the voice of Rao who gets taken over by Brainiac. So now the one who's in power is the one that's been taken over.
This is honestly what I was expecting from the start. When they said, "Oh, someone's been taken over," I thought it was going to be that high up anyway, because he's so mysterious as well. I thought, okay, he's the one where you get.
But did you think he was already taken over?
I did at the time, yeah. And then when they told me it was someone else, I just dismissed it. So I was like, okay, we're not doing that. So it actually plays a nice swerve to come back around to it.
And if anything, he actually is the first bit of slightly sympathetic in this episode, partly because he does accept the girl because
No, it does. It's a really human point where Kem's there going, hey, look, she just wants to give you this thing. She's mourning her mother, and he's there with all the rankless. It's this whole big moment, and he's like, "Do you know what? Fine, I'm going to raise her up. You're ranked now. You're one of mine. You're going to have a good life." Even
before that, when he's like, "Oh, based on what happened last episode, he's like, I want to go down to the rank list before this all starts. I want to go down and see the scene of the crime and where they died."
And that's the thing. Like when he was taking the girl as one of his disciples, I was like, okay, what's the twist here? What? It felt like he was being slimy and manipulative, but then as it went on, it's like, I don't think he is. I think he is genuinely doing something nice.
You're waiting for the swerve where this is secretly awful, where they're all treated really badly, and they're slaves and they're whatever. But it never does, and then he gets taken over. I'm like, no, it makes sense that despite his weird sort of dictatorship thing that was going on, he wasn't completely awful. So you feel
he's overly religious and leans into that for sure, but I don't think he was a bad person in the way that we were expecting.
Yeah, which adds a little bit of grey to it, because it means he can't necessarily just root for Black Zero, even though they were fighting against the regime. I mean, they were doing it again. They were being terrorists, but which is the other thing. So Colin Salmon's in the show now, another acclaimed British actor, thespian, you might say. But he's not actually with Black Zero. They've been using Black Zero. He mentions that because he even laughs when Seg says it. But they kidnap Seg because they know about Brainiac, and they want to know what the Brainiac parasite person was doing inside the communication center. And they're like, oh, we already know about Brainiac, and I've got a history with your family. Like, your grandfather, ended up, he was an idealist, and he didn't have the balls to do what needed to be done, and all the rest of it. Which again, it's a very classic Superman, idea that this competition between, hey, if you just murdered all the bad guys, you'd make the world better. But no, we're better than that. We have a higher standard. We believe in rehabilitation. That's not exactly what this conversation is, but it's shades of that battle, that the good ideals of the elves versus just do what needs to be done, do the tyrannical thing to. No, it is,
and that's very much that. This whole point is him going, do you know what? I'm going to do what needs to be done. He essentially tortures him as much as he says he's not. He's like, no, I think this is what I need to do right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is a critique against the episode or a praising of it, but I was shocked when it ended. I didn't realise I was at the end of the episode at all.
I didn't either.
Because, Seg kind of tricks the woman, puts the bug in her, He runs outside with one of their guns, and he actually, when he gets outside, he realizes their base is actually out in the, the cold part of the planet.
Yeah, in the mountains.
He gets outside and it's cold, and that's where we end with him. He's out in the cold, has to get back. That's where we end with that, and I'm like, oh shit, this is over. I thought we were going to get a whole. He comes back to Adam and explains something, and he's like, hey, they already know about Brainiac. What do we do? Like,
no, it shook up that what you expected, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it's as good as last week's episode. I think it's maybe not got as much progression as that did.
No, I agree with that.
Or excitement as that one did. I do like the whole Colin Salmon part of it, though.
Yeah. Also, he's way better here than he was on Arrow.
Was he on Arrow?
He was like the stepfather, wasn't he?
Oh, was that him?
I'm sure it was him. Am I misremembering?
I don't think that's Colin Salmon. I'm double checking this. I don't think that was him. I know Colin Salmon, and I never thought that was him.
I could have sworn it was.
I don't think it is.
Am I obviously, it's been years at this point since that.
I'm seeing a photo of him with a shaved head and no beard, and I don't think that's him. Maybe I am wrong here. Let me go down. I'd probably better go to...
Just Google his name.
Oh, no, you're right. He was Walter Steele.
Walter, that's it, yeah.
Shit. That shows how much a different his shaving his head is.
Yeah.
Actually, we may have had a shaved head in this, but
it might have done, yeah.
But the beard the beard being there, not.
No, and the extra few years, he looks a bit older now.
Because I knew him unfortunately from the Resident Evil movie. It never struck me that was Colin Salmon, and that Joe. The funny thing is, here immediately I recognised him and said, "That's Colin Salmon." I don't think I ever once in Arrow thought that was Colin Salmon.
Really, he was a relatively notable part for two seasons.
Well, one season really.
He was quite heavy in season 2 as well, wasn't he?
He was only there for a couple of episodes in season 2.
I was okay. Maybe I'm mixing up season 1
because he split up from Moira at the end of 1, so he popped in for like 1 or 2 to help.
I'm mixing up 2 with 3.
That was it. I seriously did not realise that was Colin Salmon in Arrow.
Yeah.
That is completely fair.
You have me thinking I was going crazy. Like I know it's been like 5 years, but I'm sure that was him.
Oh man. Do you know what's funny as well? I'm seeing other images of him here, and he looks completely different in other things as well. What's this? In Limitless, he's in an episode of Limitless, and he looks different. It's funny. All he's doing is like having different versions of his beard and shaving his head.
Different amounts of hair just makes him unrecognizable to you. Apparently.
Apparently, it does. I'm seeing him, and I hear. Aye. Yeah, he looks completely different now. I'm seeing a photo of him now. He's got a little chin, the little
stubble.
It's that little bit under the lip.
Yeah.
He's just got that little bit, and he's like a chameleon. I'm looking at a photo of him right now, and he does not look like Colin Salmon to me. You're telling me it is. I know it is. I'm looking at him right now.
I believe this information, but your brain is not accepting it for some reason.
He genuinely looks different with just that little bit of facial hair difference. Jesus. The guy's a chameleon.
Oh man, I'm really glad it was him, because I was going to be really embarrassed for a second.
This is like Daniel Day-Lewis, but only even easier. Like he doesn't even have to do as much. He's not putting on ridiculous costumes and.
Colin Salmon, he's like Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, that's the takeaway to this episode.
But it's impressive.
No,
honestly,
I agree.
I actually think he's been bald for a long time. I think he had hair in Resident Evil, but I think he's been bald for a long time.
Honestly, I think it's only his voice that I recognise consistently.
I think that's fair. He's got a very distinctive voice.
Yeah.
Do you know what it might be? It might be when I watched those episodes of Arrow. It'd been long enough that I'd just kind of forgotten who he was, and then in the time since I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm more familiar with who Colin Salmon is at this point. I think that's what's happened. And it just never occurred to me that was him in Arrow.
That makes sense.
That said, I'm still looking at this photo, and I'm still going like...
You're not quite convinced, are you?
It's like, yeah, I mean, if I really look at him, I can kind of see it, but it still feels off. Anyway.
I didn't expect us to go down this path. I'm sorry.
Jesus. My God. He was in something else recently, I'm sure.
Was he? That we've both seen, or just that you might have watched?
I don't know. What am I looking for here? I'm just going to scroll down his
I don't remember him that recently,
No,
but
maybe it wasn't in something recently. Yeah, nothing's popping up. Yeah. So
maybe it's just something you watched from longer ago.
it might have been. Maybe it was just something he popped up from before. I'm literally just scrolling his IMDb there, just looking for things he's been in. Apparently, he was in Resident Evil Retribution. I have no idea what number that was or if I've seen that one.
Resident Evil Too Many.
That's a good way of putting it. Uh, did I ever see Blood, the Last Vampire?
I'm gonna say I hope you didn't.
I think it did. Yes, it's the one with the lady in the lead role. Yeah, I saw
I assume
that.
it's awful.
I mean, I don't remember. If I'm struggling to remember if I've seen it like that, then
Yeah,
probably,
probably not great.
but not terrible enough.
No, not worst movie ever.
Yeah, yeah. Man. All right, that was a weird tangent to go down.
There was. Sorry about that.
But hey, so where were we?
End of the episode. How it surprised us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it suddenly finished, and I was
It
like,
did.
oh,
And
it's done.
the critique of it is it's a little jarring that that's the end. It felt like the episode didn't have quite the flow to it, but as a positive, it's unconventional. It doesn't feel formulaic that we have to have a scene at the end of them discussing it.
Yeah, I think it's a positive and a negative. It's a positive because it's a negative because it doesn't feel like we've rounded out an episode, so I feel like I've gotten a full chunk.
Yeah.
But the positive is, and the other side of things is that it went in so quick that
We were just enjoying it. Yeah.
I legitimately thought there was going to be at least another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good thing. So, no, it's good.
You still can't get over it, can you?
I'm just... Man. Colin Salmon, man. That guy just... Oh. Anyway.
Salmon the chameleon. That's what we've established.
He's a chameleon. Yeah, I don't even know how to justify.
Is there a chameleon fish? Just go with salmon.
There probably is.
I mean, I'm sure there is. There's so many fish, but I don't know one.
There's definitely other sea life that they've got chameleon-like abilities.
Yeah.
Several, in fact, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Krypton was solid enough. Yes.
Yeah, not its best episode, but I'm still in.
Yeah.
And I did like the twist at the end with the voice of Rao being infected.
Yeah, it's good. So here we go. 4 in. We're almost halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Believe it as it may. That's the thing with only having 10 episodes, is you get there quite quickly. But here we go. So we'll move on then to Arrow. So season 6, episode 18. It is called Fundamentals. What's funny about this one is we actually watched this just before we started recording. Normally we do it a few days earlier, but we didn't have time, so we kind of snuck it in at the last minute. Because there was a risk of not doing it this week and just doing Double Arrow next week, but that was such a terrifying thought that we snuck it in at the last minute. So the premise of this episode is that Oliver gets doused with vertigo right before a hearing to try and speak up for himself because he's going to get impeached as mayor for firing the corrupt DA and police captain, and he starts to freak out and have hallucinations and sees various things. We get a sort of twist later on where him being dumped by Felicity was just an hallucination, but he does have a confrontation with Diggle, who's going to Argus. He does have a genuine confrontation with Felicity where he gets so angry that he smashes William's science fair project. That's a little botany thing going on, and what made me laugh during the scene had nothing to do with what was going on. I just laughed because William's grown like a foot over the course of the season because I didn't realise how tall he'd gotten. He was the same height as Felicity now, and I don't feel like he was just a year ago.
I don't either. But hey, growth spurts.
No, hey, yeah. I mean, it puts him at about 12 to 13 years old because that's when you have your spark.
That's the thing. It's perfectly believable because obviously the actor had the growth spurt in this time, and Arrow moves in real time, so it's not a critique of the show.
Well, it's not. I just laughed because I'm like, damn, when did he get so tall?
Yeah, it's because we haven't seen him in a while.
No, it is. Yeah, he's been missing from the screen for a little while. You almost expect to come back and his voice is really deep. He's like, yeah, Felicity, yeah, got a science fair project. Dad, can we go?
Yeah.
but so here's the thing. I saw a screenshot. You saw a screenshot of Legends that spoiled that something was happening. Just in case you've skipped that review because you're behind on Legends, I won't say it. But I saw a screenshot of Adrian Chase, and I immediately smiled and went, "Oh boy, we're getting the theme." And sure enough, it's obviously it's all in his head. The whole thing is that Adrian Chase represents the doubt in his head that he's a good person, that he's not a killer, blah 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 blah. And he fights with Adrian Chase, realizes he's a vision, and it keeps going. He ends up freaking out. And the whole thing, Adrian Chase is like, "Oh no, you've lost who you were. You have to take this all back to the beginning." So, because we actually start the episode with like a flash forward to what's going to happen. The episode's going to all build up to it.
Yeah.
As Oliver's going through the police station of corrupt cops to get to Diaz, and I noticed during this scene he's not wearing his mask. He's wearing his paint,
grease paint. Yeah, and he's in his old hood.
He's in his old hood. This is odd. To the point where I would have thought it was a flashback if he wasn't yelling, "Where's Diaz?" Like if he wasn't yelling that, I would have assumed it was a flashback. But it's a whole thing where, oh no, you made a big team out of this. You might go back to the start, back to the way things were. And what was funny to me was, but the way things were at the start was he was exactly what you accused him of. And admittedly, this is in his head. This isn't real, Adrian. But I was like, but what the way things were, you had a hit list. You were assassinating people.
Yeah, and I checked as well, because the whole point of this is he pushes everyone away. He wants to do it alone because that's how he started.
Yeah, because even after he gets healed, because Felicity, after William gives her some running shoes because she's got sore feet, we have this fantastically shot scene of Felicity running in her new shoes.
Under the road.
Yeah, it's like multiple shots of her running and how well she's running because she has comfortable shoes on. Oh, see if there was a brand on the shoes, I'd have said it was product placement, but there's not. They're completely plain. No, it's just no. Look at her running the shoes. Yeah. And she gets in the police station, sneaks in, and he's about to get to the door where Adrian Chase, and she's like, no, Adrian's it. No, not Adrian, sorry, Diaz.
Diaz
is in there. He's got like a room full of armed cops, and they're all going to shoot you as soon as you open the door. And she tries to convince him, hey, like, I'm real, I'm not a hallucination, I didn't break up with you, blah, blah, blah. Which I'm glad, because when she said she was going to leave him again for a while, I rolled my eyes so hard, because we've done this far too many times.
What was the line, if you can remember? There was an amazing line of how awful it was.
What, from the breakup scene, or from this scene?
No, there's one in the breakup scene as well. I
can't remember. It's not the man I married, something like that, I don't know. But the scene, the line of the episode was in this scene when she's convincing him. Is because he's like, oh, everyone leaves me, so you left me too. And she says, I will never leave you. And then the line she says is, I'm glue, baby.
I think it was just babe.
Regardless, I'm glue, babe, I'm glue, baby. Doesn't matter. I'm glue, baby. Come on now. That is one of the most cringeworthy lines this show has ever had. Yeah, it's atrocious. I started laughing so hard when she said that. But after he gets better though, and he apologises to William, he basically says to Felicity, "Yeah, you're fired because I need to go back to doing this on my own. I need to go back to the beginnings and make it just me." And he gets impeached as well, by the way. So he's not there anymore. And this was saying, so I was thinking, it's like, you know what? He wasn't on his own for very long. Because I remember, back to the start of the show, it had a real problem for the first few episodes with him narrating at the start. It had that awful, they thought it was comic booky narration at the start. And they dropped it pretty quickly because Diggle found out and was involved. Which and you looked up what episode it was. I was like, I don't know exactly. I was just checking out wiki summaries. I was like, so episode 5 of the show has Diggle in the hood. So it has to have been 5 at the latest, if not 4. Assuming he was doing that sort of to dispel speculation that Ollie was the Green Arrow, right? Yeah. So sorry, the hood as it was in season the hood, yeah. But that's my point. It's like, okay, so you went a month on your own, maybe tops. That's not that much. Yeah, in terms of the show, he wasn't actually on his own for very long. And if I remember correctly, Felicity was sort of on the team by about halfway through the season. Yeah, I checked that as well, because I recall he was going to her for the informal tech support, with the really bad excuses for a while. The episode she got involved properly was when he got shot by someone. I won't say Moira for some reason. And it was the mostly flashback episode for the first time we did one of those,
and he ended up in the back of Felicity's car and was like, "Hey, come and help patch me up."
Hmm.
And that was when she got. That was episode 14. So
Yeah, okay, about halfway, just over halfway then.
yeah,
So yeah, he wasn't on his own for that long. So the idea that he has to go back to the when it worked is, especially again, when it worked is when he had a hit list and he was assassinating people at his will.
yeah. You have failed this city. Now die.
Yeah, we have like original Hood to say that to Oliver in this episode. You have failed this city. Oh, come on. Now, here's the thing. I actually don't hate this episode overall. I think the concept of the episode is fine. In the sense that him seeing his like worst enemy, which kind of makes his enemy this season look like a bit of a.
It made me realize, God damn, Adrian Chase is so much more fun.
Yeah, than Diaz. It makes him feel like a bit of a chump because it's like your enemy from last season is still the worst one. It's still the one that plays in your mind. Diaz is just a criminal dude.
Yeah, Diaz is just here.
So that's the whole thing. But I like the concept of the episode more than the execution. Like this is the sort of episode where another show does this concept, and I'd probably be into it a lot more. Especially if it's the sort of thing where I actually wanted the main character to go back to kind of the roots. With Arrow, I'm like, whatever. I don't like.
Yeah,
care.
This thing, I wouldn't mind it going back to the roots, but this is a bit too far back. Like this is going back to I'm on my own. Which, by that point you have to go back to, should he be doing the kill list again? Because that's what the roots were. And that's what I mean. I don't think it needs to go that far back. And
I'm sick of that debate. I'm sick of it going back and forth.
No, if you want to go back to the roots for Oliver, you kind of need to go back to season 2, which is, after Tommy died and he, became who he was. Because that's the point from there onwards that I would say that's the defining moment of, okay, that's who Oliver is for the majority of the show now. So before that kind of feels like this weird, okay, he's not really who he's supposed to be yet.
Yeah. Black Siren still working with Diaz. They're all excited. Quentin's technically now the mayor, at least for now.
I can see that being fun, I'm not going to lie. Cause
I can see it being fun.
Quentin's one of the most fun characters.
Yeah. And there's an irony to everyone's leaving him except Quentin, who's kind of sticking by him and like giving him advice. That's all blow over. Fine.
There's the point when I was going to Felicity's. She wants, my wife wants a separation, and Quinn's like, it's fine. Apologize to the kids. Sleep on the couch. Maybe in the doghouse for a day or two, but whatever.
Yeah, Quentin, your marriage got wrecked. Right? There's a reason why you're divorced.
To be giving advice. Yeah.
So maybe don't take marriage advice from the divorcee is perhaps a good idea. Unless he's specifically saying, here's what I did, do the opposite. That can be good advice from a divorcee. They can learn from their mistakes. But when he's saying, this will blow over, it's fine, just do this, don't listen to him.
He's like, who cares about Diggle? Whatever, he'll be back.
I mean, he's right, but...
Well, I think that's why I like Quentin so much, because he is essentially us. It's like, it's all going to be fine. Who cares?
Which is funny, because back in season 1, he was the one who was like, no, this Hood's a menace. We need to get him. He's the worst. It took a while. It was a good couple of seasons before he came to accept. But hey, so yeah, a lot of things. You got to hear the Prometheus theme again, so you were happy enough.
I loved it.
I don't have a lot to add. That was basically it.
It was Arrow.
I
had a few drinks. It was fun.
On the upside, we don't have to do double Arrow next week, so that's nice.
That is nice, because I had a son of a bitch in the first 90 seconds. So double Arrow might have killed me.
You did. But I guess that wraps it up, which does take us on to picking our favourite episode of the week.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Look, I agree it's Legends, but at least draw it out for drama's sake.
I can't. There's no point, because everyone knows it's Legends this week, and if anyone tells me that it's not, then they're wrong.
Even just the shot of the camera, like swooping in as like both big things are like coming. I'm being.
I know. Just in case you haven't seen this, you do not want this spoiled.
Just in case you've skipped to this section, you've skipped the Legends review. I'm just like, but as the camera swoops in, as the two big things are running towards each other, It's just like, oh man, this is so epic. It's silly.
How amazing this is.
And I'm like, man, I've got certain theme tunes playing in my head as this is happening.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, Legends wins. Legends was a blast season finale, which does mean though the exciting part of this, other than because obviously we're losing Legends, that's a shame. But the exciting part is we get Supergirl back.
And someone else gets a shot at best episode for a while.
That is true. So we have Supergirl next week. We have the finale of Black Lightning next week. So lots of big things. Flash can only go up from this week, so that's a plus. I hope so. That's a plus. So lots of big things. And I am genuinely excited to have Supergirl back. I do miss that show. As much as it does have... It's a little bit like Flash and it's inconsistent, but I feel like
it's rarely as bad as Flash has been, though.
Yeah, I think it hits more often than Flash, and when it does hit, it often hits better.
Yeah, I think like you had the Flash Time episode, which has probably hit harder than any of Supergirl's episodes this year so far.
Yeah, but I think take that out of the equation, then Supergirl easily has way more better episodes.
Absolutely.
Come on, do you remember the Bon Jovi episode?
Oh, I'm not disputing. I'm saying that one episode of Flash.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
What was this, 17, 16?
17, I think.
17.
No, it must be 16, because Arrow was 17, that's a week ahead, yeah. Oh, no, this was 17 as well.
How did that happen?
Flash must have had a week off somewhere before, and we forgot to account for it when we were comparing them. They're actually synced up. They're both on 17 this week.
Okay, I thought they were one off, but
no. Arrow's on 18 this week. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
So Arrow is one ahead. That's fine.
That's fine. It's one less Arrow that I need to sit through.
For some reason, I thought Arrow was 17 this week, even though I said earlier. Did I even say it earlier? Because honestly, the episode's called Fundamentals, and I don't remember saying that.
I think you said that.
Okay.
I remember you saying Fundamentals. I don't remember you saying the episode, season episode.
All right. Was Colin Salmon in the episode?
Unfortunately not. Probably would have improved.
I'm just checking. I need to check after every episode of everything now, just to make sure I'm not missing them.
Yeah.
But here.
No, like I said, that one episode of Flash out of 17 is better than Supergirl, but other than that, it's Supergirl definitely.
Yeah, so excited to have that back. Excited to get the finale of Black Lightning, and we'll go from there. So as always, let us know what you thought of all this week's episodes in the comments and stuff. Like, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. There's bonuses on there. You get to vote for some of the movie shows. There's a bonus comics episode every month for people on the $5 tier. It is worth mentioning, even in the $1 tier though, if you give us $1 a month, it's actually more than we'd ever get from the ads on YouTube, from like your viewing them.
So it's greatly appreciated,
especially if you've got ad block on, and obviously if you listen to the audio versions as well. So if you can afford it, don't feel no pressure. But if you want to support us, that is a very easy, simple way to do it. Is just to throw us $1 monthly. But so you can do that, and otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching superhero TV shows, and always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.